So who's buying less? Okay, the Federal Reserve, foreign investors, commercial banks, and broker-dealers. You can see that. The Fed sold off $213 billion in the treasuries. By the end of 2023, if they continue on the path they're on, they will have sold off $720 billion. So they ain't buying. Foreign investors went from a plus of 376 down to 275 billion. Commercial banks were also selling. So foreigners were buying, but commercial banks, that means JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, those are all commercial banks with ties directly to the Federal Reserve. And by the way, all those regional banks and community banks are depending upon these commercial banks, as are anybody that performs that function. So minus 83 billion to minus 170 billion. So more than double. And broker dealers, so these are supposed to be the market makers. All these entities are supposed to stabilize that price, which they aren't doing anyway and haven't been doing, especially since 2008 and especially since 2013. They went from buying 72 billion to a big whopping goose egg. Not a dime. Not a dime. So who's buying? Let's take a look at this. Oh my goodness. Pension funds and insurance companies, where they were selling minus 41 billion, they're now buying 150 billion. So these are the institutional investors that are investing your hard-earned money. Do you see this risk transfer? Who else is buying? Okay, mutual funds from 20 billion to 275 billion. You can't make this stuff up. And money market funds. So we've had a flood of people rushing into money market funds because they're paying you a little bit of interest. And that's going from minus, where they were selling 751 billion, to a plus 600 billion. Kind of looks like the money markets are buying all of the treasuries that the Fed is selling. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Do you see this risk transfer? Do you see it? I hope you do, because if you only share one chart or one slide, you got to share this one with your friends and your neighbors. If you need it printed out, ask your consultant at ITM. They'll print it out. If you don't want to do that, go on the blog. You can pause it. You can print it out. Ignorance does not make you immune. It simply leaves you vulnerable. And they have been transferring the risk from the few to the many, and this is the final blow-off. The Treasury market is completely de-anchored. I'm going back to here. All of the usual buyers that really aren't sensitive to prices, the central banks, foreign investors, commercial banks, broker-dealers, they're going away. And you have pension funds and insurance companies, but it's guaranteed. Well, look on your documentation, because those guarantees are only as good as the claims paying ability. That's it. That's counterparty risk, people.